I'm Jenni Carlson with Kyle Fredrickson. We're in Stillwater, where today the OSU Orange and Black spring game took place. If you're keeping score at home, I don't know why you would, but Orange beat Black 24-0. And Kyle, that was largely on the back of Mason Rudolph, who played more than we were expecting, frankly. About 2 full quarters did the starting Cowboy quarterback. An impressive 2 quarters, too. What did you see out of Rudolph? Anything surprise you at all?
What we've seen really out of him his entire career, his ability to move around the pocket, make good decisions down the field. Chris Lacey was a guy with 2 big catches down the sideline, set up that team to score 2 of its touchdowns. Not a huge surprise. We did see Tyrell Alexander, a guy who's a sophomore, played sparingly at receiver last year, make some plays as well. Gunny mentioned him as one of the players who might platoon in and out with this huge group of receivers that's going to play next season. Made some plays downfield. There were some offensive linemen who were hurt today that might have limited what the Cowboys were able to do in their run game. Jeff Carr was productive as a pass catcher and had a couple nice runs, but nothing really too much of note from them. But really just reaffirming what we've known about this group. Mason Rudolph's the leader of this team. He addressed the Heisman campaign that OSU rolled out this week. Really just talking about it's really not up to him that they do that. Surely it's humbling, but for him, week 1 in Tulsa is really kind of the focus. But as we look deeper at this game, I know one of the bigger areas of emphasis was looking at some of these backup quarterbacks. Jenny, from what you saw, what do you kind of make of this group?
Well, I don't know if you can gauge a whole lot by today, Kyle. And, it was interesting because it looked like Keandre Woodtee, who's the number 2 by the number of snaps he took, but went against a better defense, so maybe struggled a little bit there. Taylor Cornelius looked really pretty good. If they had to name a backup right now, they'd probably name Taylor Cornelius that guy, but they don't have to. So it sounds like it's going into the fall. Mike Gundy talking about probably a couple weeks into the fall before they'll name a starter. Now I guess that could change if the summer brings some definition in that second team race. That might change some things, but if not, don't expect a backup quarterback to be named until sometime in the fall. But Kyle, you talk about what this day was about, and I think it was largely about fans. They let the fans on the field after the game. We could talk about what did the defense look like, what did the offense look like. I'm not sure one practice during the spring is going to be definitive, but it seemed like this was really a day for the fans in a lot of ways.
Yeah, OSU Media Relations estimating about 18,000 in the crowd today. A little bit late arriving, I think. Early on it wasn't that big, but as the day grew on, it looked like more and more people filed in. It's special to be able to go onto the field and interact with the players, get signatures. The line for Mason Rudolph's signature pretty much wrapped around the stadium, I think, if you put it all the way out. The number of fans who just want to interact with him, see him, for a team with such high expectations, and I think that really fuels a lot of this, a chance to interact with a team with Big 12, maybe even playoff aspirations. Really a great day for them. Mason Rudolph at one point even signed a baby. Did talk to the parents of that baby, so I have to look for my story in the Oklahoman this week to learn more about their journey to Stillwater today for this event. But yeah, a game that's not televised on TV, so if you're going to watch these young Cowboy players, you had to be here in person, and a lot of people showed out.
No doubt about it. I heard somebody over say that they weren't going to wash a shirt that got signed by Mason Rudolph, but I hope that baby gets washed at some point. Let's hear what Cowboy coaches and players had to say after this one.
This day makes me more nervous than any day for us as a team, because we have so many guys playing next to guys that aren't accustomed to it yet due to youth or inexperience. And we got out of it. It was good. Got some veteran guys, got some work, some young guys got to play a little bit. And so I'm glad that we got through today. We had a great crowd. It was awesome to have this many people here, and they'll be out there for 30 minutes with the team. So we're looking forward to the next phase. We've got April and half of May, and then June and July for preparation for September and August, which is the most important time of the year right now for us. So this will be a big phase for us. So we're excited about the training. Coaches are all hit the road and get on road recruiting.
It was a good day, fun day, kind of short for me. I felt, the first half had a good few drives in there and kind of got the ball to some new people like Tyrell Alexander. He had a couple really nice catches. Good to see that. And kind of one-sided affair. I thought the teams were extremely evenly matched. So, but it was a good day, and everyone stayed injury-free. So that's what you can ask for.
There were some young guys that hadn't got a lot of action during the spring. Got out there today and got a lot of good work in. We had a young safety, that got a pick today. So that was good to see. Yeah, just a lot of young guys making plays.
It starts with our O-line. Our O-line's out there making big plays, holding the defense back, and Mason's making some great passes and leaves it up to me to make catches. It feels really good to know that I'm surrounded by a lot of great guys, and at practice we all just work hard and make everybody better.
I felt like it went really well. You know, the O-line, the receivers, the running backs, Mason, the quarterbacks, we all came out here and we competed, and I feel like our defense played really well too.
So the Cowboys wrap up spring, Kyle, and now they head towards the offseason, and obviously then two-a-days will be here before we know it, frankly. What are the biggest questions in your mind as you think about what's coming up for these Cowboys?
Well, something that didn't really get addressed today, and even Mike Gundy said there wasn't much of a clarification, was who are going to be the starting cornerbacks this year. Corner, not quarter. We know Mason Rudolph is going to be the guy on offense. But with all the young players they have on the edge, guys like Madre Harper, Odarius Williams, young players who got a little bit of experience last season, but not enough to really solidify any of them as starters. This is going to be a big summer for them. How much weight they can put on in terms of muscle, how that offseason conditioning is going to go into their workout plans, because you got a guy like Adrian Baker, a Clemson defensive back, coming in who might earn one of those starting roles. This kind of puts some extra pressure on those young guys. You got to think about that. Today we saw Matt Amendola miss a few field goals. The Cowboys bring in a scholarship kicker in the summer to compete with him, but you wonder where that stands. But for you, Jenny, what are some of the storylines you've been thinking about?
Well, I think a lot of what we saw today was reaffirmation. We saw the defensive line solid. We saw Mason Rudolph solid. We saw a wide receiver core that was, we know is talented and deep. Chris Lacey, you mentioned earlier, Kyle, a guy that is probably down the pecking order a few spots in most people's minds, made two of the biggest catches of the day. So I think we saw a lot of that reaffirmed, but clearly some question marks. I do think the defensive backfield situation very up in the air. Does Ramon Richards stay at safety? It looks like Kenneth Edison Magruder's probably definitely moved to linebacker, but what shifts might be made as the Cowboys get into two-a-days, I think that's a real big question. And obviously we'll continue to cover those questions and much, much more as the Cowboys head towards the 2017 season. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com every day in the Oklahoman.